You guys expecting a statement, or are we just going right to questions? There we go. Nice and easy.
All right. How did you just feel about installation from spring to now? How good do you feel about just how in your offense is and how well the guys are executing it?
I think the biggest thing is, and I've mentioned this and alluded to it before, I thought we had a great spring. Coach Allen put a great plan together. We had plenty of time. We kind of kept it within the first 3 days of install, other than some very specific situations for the entirety of the spring, just to make sure we got enough reps on task and we truly kind of understood what we're trying to get done. And then our kids did a phenomenal job in the summer. And so where we're kind of able to start in fall camp up until now, we feel prepared. There's always going to be growing pains first year in the system, but we feel like we're very prepared and we're ready to go play.
Coach, a little off topic. I posted a while back a short clip on Twitter about something you'd said. I'd asked, I forget what, but the biggest comments came about the mustache. How's that going about it? Is that going to go with the winning, losing? Any superstitions there?
No.
And what prompted it?
What prompted it? Well, the quarterback's not. A bunch of kids on offense were joking about it. If you look at my genetic heritage, there's a large family tradition of well-mustachioed gentlemen. I grew up, my father, he had a nice thick caterpillar up there, and then also I'm 38. I got 2 kids, I got a wife, and every comedic reference I make, no one understands. So it probably was time for me to have a mustache, but no, it's here to stay. I grew up, granddad, dad, everybody had one, so figured I'd join the family line.
Hey, Coach, when you watched Illinois this Saturday, just what were some of the biggest challenges you think they present to you defensively?
They're good on defense for a reason. They've done a great job. There was a little bit of a transition for them, and kind of X and O from an X and O standpoint, probably around game 4 or 5 last year. I think number one, they do a great job edging the defense. And they up front, they're going to make you go the long way. They're going to edge the defense. They're going to make you win, C gap to C gap. They're not going to give you any freebies on the perimeter in a run game. I think in the back end, they do a great job of disguise. I think that their back end players do a great job of understanding the scheme, where they fit within the scheme, and being patient enough to allow the game to come to them, as opposed to being a little over-aggressive and sometimes allowing the offense to kind of make a uncharacteristic play. But I think they play with great confidence. I think they play really hard. Again, edging the defense, and then from a fundamental standpoint, I think they do a great job of being really violent inside hands players. Block destruction, they do a great job. And then on top of that, they got some really good players. And so it will be a challenge. But their defensive coordinator, Coach Bielema, Coach Walter, they've done a great job, and so it will be a great challenge.
Coach, there were so many questions coming into fall camp about the receivers room. I think Coach Allen said last week he thought 8 or 9 may rotate. What kind of update can you give us on the room as a whole, and did anybody really stick out to you progressing from the beginning of the month to today?
Yeah, just overall, which is probably the easiest place to start, I really think we will definitely play 8 guys. And there's a high probability we'll probably play 9. And all those guys have earned the right to get out on the field and play. They all have, within the scheme, they all have individual skills that fit well in certain roles and certain parts. So you'll definitely see a bunch of guys. I think in terms of people that have really improved, because I got here in January, so I've kind of been, here for, I don't even know how long it is, 8 months now. In that 8 months, I think Emory Simmons has really improved. Really over the last week of spring and the end of now, a lot of contested catches, a lot of contested plays, which is kind of the ultimate mark. It's really easy to do it when it's versus air. But, I think Andison Coby is going to be a great addition. I think Javon Switten has really started to elevate his role. Cam Camper, Donovan McCulley's got a chance to be a really good player for us. In the spring, Malachi was kind of beat up all spring, had some pretty significant soft tissue stuff. And so to get him back in fall camp and to have him full speed and to watch him kind of battle through some things, And so I'm excited about that group, and then, DJ Matthews, a little bit of a proven commodity. I think for him, just coming off an injury a year ago from a confidence standpoint, from a full game conditioning standpoint, but he's looked great the last couple of weeks, and he's a guy that, on game day has a little bit of an edge to him too, which may, allow him to kind of rise above, kind of where he is. But no, we've got a great group of kids, guys that want to get better every day, and I'm really proud of that group.
I guess to follow up on that, I mean, do you want 8 or 9? Do you want, in an ideal sort of world, to be a month from now able to identify 3 or 4 of those that get a lot of the work? I know if you're going to move fast on offense, those guys have got to be able to rotate. But are you more comfortable with kind of a deeper rotation, or in an ideal world, would you want maybe 3 or 4 of those guys to really sort of rise above?
Yeah, I think that goes both ways. I mean, you want a deep rotation because you want to make sure that you've got comparable players and comparable bodies. And I think when you play more guys, number one is whether that be 70 reps to, 50 reps to 30 reps to 20 reps, no matter how many repetitions you're getting, you're developing great depth. Now, on the flip side of that is we got to make sure the right guys get the ball at the right times, and that we're giving our best players a chance to make plays. I mean, I think that more than anything else, especially in critical moments, you got to think players, not X's and O's. Think players, not plays. I think the Super Bowl is a fantastic example of that. Is the Rams don't have Odell Beckham, and who touches the ball for 4 straight plays in a row to go win that game? And it's Cooper Kupp. Why? Because he's a really good player and he deserves the ball. And so I think there's a happy medium there. Obviously, you want to have the ability to play a lot of guys because that means you got a bunch of deserving players. And that's going to continue to develop your depth and create competition in your room. But at the same time, we got to make sure that the right guys are having an opportunity to get the ball at the right time.
And then, Coach, over here, just your thoughts on A.J. Barner and the leadership he's shown, the development he's shown.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's done an incredible job since the day I've arrived. I mean, and he's a younger player. I mean, he still has, he hasn't started a bunch of games here. He's been behind some really good players. But for a young player to kind of step into that role the way he did, going all the way back to the spring, I mean, he's very passionate about football. He's very passionate about winning. And when I say winning, I don't necessarily mean the end product, what you get on a Saturday or Friday night. He's very passionate about the work required to win a football game, and that's practice, that's lifting, that's conditioning, that's meeting, that's how you study, it's how you eat. And so just his commitment to being the best that he can be so our team has a chance to be the best it can be, to me, is kind of the most special thing about him, on top of the physical gifts, which he has many.
Coach, you mentioned Andison Coby. I guess just what has stood out to you about him and kind of how have you seen him develop over the last few months?
I think number one is just he is a worker. He loves to prepare. He likes ball. Like, he could go out there and catch RVA all day long, every day, and he's been that way since the summertime, and so I think just the amount of work that he has put in, he's very diligent about refining his skills. In life and in football, we're all kind of like a toolbox. We have some tools that are really sharp and some that are dull, and every day you got to work on the dull ones, and he's not afraid to do that. And he's not afraid to put himself, in situations that he may not be the best at, but he wants to get better. Just how he attacks work every day. And on top of that, he can really run. And he's done a great job with the ball in the air up until this point, and he's got a great demeanor at practice, and we'll see on game day. All right, thanks, Walt. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.